Today we are going to be covering my very favorite fake disorder topic, in which someone actually admits to faking a disorder. The reason this is my favorite is because it helps us to explore the psychology of why people are faking, but also it's huge for this person because they're taking accountability. For our story number 2, we are going to be going into someone who is curious as to why people fake DID, and do they genuinely believe they have it? How many people are blatantly aware that they don't have it but pretend they do, versus people who genuinely think they have it? So make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and let's get into the video. Hi, I'm a freshman who in middle school faked DID. DID started getting recognized when COVID started, and I started thinking, wow, I have slight trauma, I must have DID. I knew I didn't, but I convinced myself I did. I used to tell all of my friends, family, and now ex-girlfriend I have a ton of these quirky alters with disabilities, typing quirks, etc. All the things people say are signs of fakers. All at the ages of 11, 13 to 14. Over this summer, I had a major reality check and realized that saying I have a serious, lifelong mental illness is wrong. I've been on antidepressants for a while, and I felt like since I was supposed to be better, I needed another thing to excuse my depressive behavior. Since I stopped faking, I've told a bunch of people in my personal and public life that I faked it. I've started different meds that actually help, and I'm doing much better in my life. I hope all the fakers I see on here can recover and become better people. So something to get into here is a lot of children around middle school like to role play. However, you know, the whole fake disorder trend is kind of getting its way into middle schools. But honestly, to this person, for being at such a young age, some people are still struggling with faking or believing that they have it into their 20s and 30s. So when we're talking about someone who's under the age of 18, or literally very much under the age of 18, you have a lot more empathy towards them because their brain is not developed. They might not understand the consequences to what they're doing. It's so hard to admit to yourself, let alone all of these people on Reddit, to faking something so serious. So I would say in this case, as young as you are, you should have self-compassion. It took a lot of courage to be able to come out about this. Teens are more likely to be able to be influenced due to psychological factors, social factors, developmental factors. Teens and children are much more suggestible. I mean, when I was a kid, I would hear, you know, my parents' opinion on things like politics, and I'd be like,
you're 100% correct.
But once you get a little bit older, you're able to start making these decisions for yourself. And especially, like, let's play on the idea of politics. Like, you want to fit in with these people, so you might just adopt these characteristics even though they aren't truly you. In adolescence, you often struggle with intense emotions, and it can be a struggle to manage them. But even in the cases, if you are an adolescent who has experienced or are going through trauma and have dissociative symptoms, you can be more likely to believe that you have a dissociative disorder or DID. Even as adults, you know, you go through mood swings, you act differently around different people, and these are things that an adolescent might confuse and believe that they have DID or OSDD. But at the moment online, there is a large stigma on mental health. This leads teens to seek an explanation for their struggles that is more concrete and socially acceptable. I would honestly consider myself lucky that I didn't know about any of these fake disorder things when I was in middle school, because I guarantee you, if my friend came up to me saying that they have DID and explained it to me in a very vague and incorrect way, I'd probably be like,
Yeah, I've got that too.
I will say in this video that it is more uncommon for someone to be diagnosed with a dissociative disorder under the age of 18, specifically DID, although it doesn't mean that it's never happened. I've had people comment on my videos saying like, hey, I was diagnosed before the age of 18, and I'm definitely not saying that your experience is invalid. So maybe in the future we can make it a trend to come out about believing that you did have a disorder that you don't, or just blatantly faking a disorder and making that cool. It's barely 6 a.m., so correct me on any mistakes. Basically, it's almost certain that at least half these fakers know they are just doing it for attention or to be different. But sometimes I see whole Reddit, TikTok, Discord, and Tumblr accounts that conveniently started way back in 2021. When you look at those accounts and see they are still posting DID content, you'd might almost believe it. Except for the fact that it's an endogenic system, or they started at 15 or 16. At that point, it's obvious that they are BSing. But who dictates this much time into an account like that if they don't fully believe they have DID? Could all of them just be doing it for attention? COVID-19, the pandemic, changed so much about society, and it changed a lot of our mindsets. If you used to go to school every day and, I don't know, go to volleyball practice after school and do your homework, and now you literally are doing nothing all day, your brain is looking for ways to fill these gaps. Especially in this time of high stress, our brain is naturally looking for coping mechanisms to make ourselves feel better. So I really don't know. I don't have any sort of statistic about what percentage of people genuinely believe they have something as serious as DID, because if you don't have things like, you know, amnesia or flashbacks, how do you still believe that you have it? I guess you can kind of convince yourself or do these like little mental gymnastics about how that would work. But people who already struggle with mental health might be more vulnerable to adopting these symptoms. Especially, like I say, during the time of COVID, people were making these Discord servers and literally had these adults or other teens convincing people that they also had it. So it's like if someone is claiming to be an expert or something and you are more likely to believe them. As is expressed, DID does occur differently for each person that has it. So maybe people are being like, well, this is just the way that I present. I mean, a lot of people have described amnesia in a way that I have not experienced amnesia personally, but some people have explained that it's kind of like your brain will naturally try to forget the amnesia like it didn't happen. I'm definitely becoming more open to the idea of self-diagnosis when it comes to things like autism spectrum disorder. I don't know how we feel about DID self-diagnosis. I mean, it's a different story between if you are using DID as an excuse for inappropriate behavior, or if you are using it as a placeholder until you can get help. Someone on Reddit said, "My theory is that during lockdown, there were a lot of teens who were stuck on Discord and wanted a sense of belonging or community, so they basically believed everything they were told." Someone else said mass hysteria, like the laughing students of Tanganyika, the Tourette's students of New York, the meowing nuns, or the dancing disease. The brain, especially when influenced by peers, is pretty easy to convince. I think a lot of fakers and people who self-diagnose think they have the illness they are faking. There's so much, quote, if you do X thing, you might be or have X, unquote, going around on social media, and a lot of them are very young. They might be poorly socialized, or just going through the weird identity formations most of us struggled with in our teen years. Suddenly, you no longer think you're weird for having a vivid imagination about your favorite characters. You're a system. You aren't struggling from having poor study habits or organization. You have ADHD. You're not experiencing normal hormonal mood swings. You're bipolar. It's very common to look for a diagnosis these days. And in a world where too many people are being raised on their phones, there isn't good information about what are normal life and developmental struggles, and what are actual disabilities. Someone else said, "For me, I was genuinely convinced I had the disorder. Other people apparently thought the same, so they didn't help at all. Just led me deeper into the delusion." I think it's kind of 50-50. Some people are aware they're faking, and the other half is convinced. There may be some people in the middle, like, quote, what if I am faking, unquote, type stuff from what I've seen in my personal experiences. If you believe that you might be faking DID or any other disorder, I would implore you to look at your motivations for why. And that can be very hard, like as in me when I vape or when I do these maladaptive behaviors. It is such a complex question. Why do I feel like I need to do this? What is the underlying unhappiness that I have that is making me want to do this? So what do you guys think? Do you think a majority of these individuals are faking it, or do you think they genuinely believe they have it? My answer is honestly more so that people kind of genuinely believe they have it, although, you know, sometimes online you'll see something that's like, no, there's no way that you don't know that you're acting at the moment. I would love to know your thoughts, so make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, turn the bell on if you're feeling risky, and comment below. Thank you so much. It helps with the algorithm. Also, thank you so much to each and every one of my members for supporting my efforts on this channel. It means the world to me. And to everyone, have a good day, night, whatever the case may be, and peace out.